Well, g'day, hello, and welcome to our very first podcast, FULGAZ on the Map. And we are in our Sydney studios, Cafe Racer. There's a smell of freshly ground coffee in the air. It's a little bonus. And my name is Brad McGee. I'm the team principal here at the McGee Athlete Pathway, the MAP. And it's really cool to announce our first guest on our first podcast, Rebecca Dicello. Beck, come on.
Yes, Beck, yep. Of course.
We know each other, like Beck, Brad, yep. Beck, welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here.
It's so cool. We're going to dig in. We're going to hear a bit about your journey. We're going to talk a little bit about cycling, the map, FULGAZ, old route, all these things. But yeah, let's start off by hearing your journey into the cycling world. Where did it all start? Let's go way back.
Way back, okay.
How did you learn to ride a bike?
Way back. I reckon it was when I lived in Croydon, and I've got two brothers, and we rode our bikes up and down the street. We used to dink each other, hang out with all of the neighbours and the kids, and just have fun, BMX bandits.
Can you remember your first stack?
Well, I did actually get my foot stuck in the spokes, so that wasn't good. But probably don't remember a massive one when I was younger. What about you?
A handy-down bike. Youngest of four boys, so strangely that bike got repurposed a few Christmases in a row. And lo and behold, new paint job, new ribbons, and on Christmas Day I'm out there as a 4-year-old, thrust down the road for the old man, brothers in tow.
Yeah, no training wheels, no bikes, nothing, bang.
Yep, crash a few times and eventually you get it.
Yeah. With a stack hat on?
No, not back then. Come on.
We didn't have stack hats.
The 70s, the 80s, So where did your cycling evolve after that, Beck? I know bits of it.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool journey. So what would you like to share?
Well, I did a lot of sports, and then as I was in my teenage years, I got into triathlon, and I sort of started doing that. But unfortunately, I found that I have got an extra bone, so an L6.
That's right.
And an extra disc on, and the bone is actually fused onto my pelvis.
Wow.
So it was quite debilitating. So I didn't do any sport for about 3.5 years. I couldn't, and I had to have the nerves burnt and lots of injections, lots of tests, all that type of stuff. Yeah, told you weren't going to do any sport again, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I was a little bit later. Obviously, I was quite determined and didn't want to set me back, and had the ups and downs, but just went, no, this is what I want to do. So once I'd done a lot of my my rehab and just learnt to manage the pain and deal with it, I got back into trying to do all of the different activities, swimming, riding, running, but found that the riding was okay. The rest of it I couldn't really do because it was too painful. And I went out and did a race through a friend that was doing some training with the knee ones, and said, why don't you go out and do a race out at Footscray, which is the other side of town from where I lived.
Yeah.
I was in the Dandenongs in Melbourne, and went out there and jumped in with the men, as you do at that time, because there wasn't many female cyclists. No, not at all.
We've come a long way.
Yes, we definitely have. And I did the race off, not much training at all, and I did okay in the race. Got an okay result, and that was it. That hooked me.
Got the bug?
I was just I was ready to go. So within a year, I got myself over to Europe. So basically in that short period of time, I gained my own sponsors, got contracts, did everything. And the internet was only just coming in by this stage. So there wasn't a lot of support in that way, but I was just so determined that I thought, and I was older. So I figured as well, I don't have the pathway from a junior coming up. So I probably have to do it myself and maybe do it the tough way. And so, I went over to America and then Holland. Didn't really know anybody, had to find places to live, meet people, caught trains everywhere, find teams. I remember the person that that met me at the airport in Holland, in Amsterdam, Schiphol Airport. Right. I'd met him online. He was through cyclists, and I did know somebody that knew him, but I never literally met him. Yeah. And it was about my age, and he picked me up at the airport, and I'm like, yeah, hi, and speaking a different language at that time. And I still remember the day when I got off the plane and we were driving, obviously, to his place. I think we were going to Delft, down that way. And it was cloudy, you know, in Holland. Cloudy, the different languages, all of that stuff. And I was like in the car going, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I just had to take some real deep breaths and go, righto, another couple of months, let's go. Yeah.
Wow.
So I really...
What a pioneer then. I mean, really, like that story, and this is not that long ago.
No, well...
And that find a way attitude, you know, I see you instill that in the athletes you work with now. But there it was, right? They got you all the way to Holland.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that. I did it for that season. And then once I was there, I was like, right, I needed to network. I needed to get connections, all of that, amongst all the other issues and things that you deal with. Yeah. And then trying to race. Like I still remember my first race, you know, like in Holland. It's, you know, the cobblestones, the speed humps, yeah, all of that as well. And, you know, I hadn't even really turned the right corners, more so the left, because we were in Australia. All of those things was a real eye-opener. But in that, from the start, in the first couple of months to the end, I ended up doing the Holland Ladies Tour, and I finished it. So, and I think it was like top 50 or something like that. But
first Aussie?
That was
wouldn't have been too many Aussies over there back then.
Oh, was Kate doing it then? Kate Bates was racing.
Yeah.
I don't know if she did that one then though. And Katie Brown at the time.
Yep.
I don't know if it was that year though. She was there. It could have been later, but no, not too many Aussies.
A couple of trackies attracted to the
possibly
the flat in the north.
Yeah. I don't remember so much at that time. Anyway, so then I just kept going with it, and I just kept persisting and gaining my own contracts and networking and doing that, and just did it myself, and ended up doing, I think it was 6 seasons in living in Belgium and Holland and Italy. And as you did, you just taught yourself the language, so taught yourself to speak the Flemish and
not everyone embraces that. Though.
No,
what a missed opportunity
do
when they don't. I mean, just to embrace the cultures, the language, the food.
Oh, exactly.
I think we had the same approach there.
Definitely. I think, and when I was there, I wasn't living with the Aussies. I was having to find houses and families to live with.
Yeah. So it wasn't a nice to have, it was a need to have the language.
Oh, exactly.
You get hungry, you get
totally.
lost.
Yeah. But it was good though. Like I found that develops your character. You get to really embrace yourself in the different cultures, and I think you also gained even more respect from the other nationalities when you showed that, no, I'm going to actually get into this and sort of not be the same as them, but just try my best to fit in as well. I also found it really challenging initially when you were with your teammates and you'd be out for dinner and they're all talking Dutch and you don't understand anything. So I found that really challenging, because I really am a people person. I love connecting and I love learning things and that. So that was really hard. So that was another reason why I was like, no, I need to understand this. And obviously when you're in a race, it does.
Because at first you think, are they all talking about me? Are they taking the piss out of me?
Totally.
And even you sort of get to the point, even if they are, does it really matter? It builds a bit of that toughness.
It does. It definitely does. And also when you're racing, you've got your earpieces in, and if they're speaking the different language, you're like, I don't know what they're talking like, what am I doing? So
let's talk about toughest day on the bike.
Toughest day on the bike. What would I say is my toughest day? I think. Well, there's probably a couple of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
You can have a few goes, or your podium. Anything on the podium, maybe?
Yeah. So I'd probably say.
What area are you in? What era? What area? What country?
I would look at the both toughest and greatest, I suppose. In that, if I go for my first highlight, would be winning a stage in the Giro, but then at the end, the final stage, and not necessarily because it was really hard. It was probably more other aspects that made it really challenging as well by the end of a 10-day tour as well. So I think that was probably the front end and the back end of it. There's a lot more. There's a lot more.
That is a tough one. It is. We know that the Giro, Donna, I think as it's still known, is the pinnacle of our women's peloton today. Still even outrates, I believe, the newest attempt at the Tour de France for women. So Stage winner in the Giro d'Honour, finisher the Giro d'Honour.
Yes.
No mean feat there. What's cycling like for you today?
You mean me
Yep.
actually riding the bike? Now, I get out when I can. I've just been away with the Australian para
That's right.
road, for the road world. So that's great because I get to ride with the paras, and we get to recon the courses, and I really love doing that. And then just getting out and socializing as well.
Coffee shop rides.
Coffee shop rides, definitely.
Have we introduced you to the gravel? Yeah.
I'm keen for the gravel, but I haven't done that one just yet. Yes.
Yeah, be warned though, once you cross to the gravel, there's little coming back to the road. But anyway, we get there.
That's okay. I'm open for that.
Yeah. So we want to talk a bit about the map today.
Can I just first of all go past? We've talked about me.
Oh, I thought
no, not at all.
Is this on the script? Hang on.
Now, obviously, you've had a lot of experiences. What would you say was your hardest day on the bike?
Pretty easy one, that one. Before I went professional, I was with the Charlie Walsh Australian Institute of Sport. We had very different entries into the pro ranks, you and I. I was quite protected with the national system, track cycling and AIS and all that. And so we would do a training camp in Mexico every year in February. And I went up there as a 17-year-old. And I was literally found on the side of the road. The bike was laid over. I had my head on the seat, and I was just out.
No, really?
And I was on the side of the volcano. This volcano was a 225-kilometre section. Yeah. And I don't know which section I was on, but things hadn't worked out very well for me. It was literally we had two staff, the coach and a soigneur, old Mal. He was in an old V-dub van, and he'd have to service the 12 riders that were there. We could be spread out over hours, and so I just sort of got lost between groups or something. And
so you were solo, so you were by yourself, obviously.
Yeah. So I just literally rode myself into the ground.
No,
and no real. Taking it easy from the coach for that. It was like, you just need to get better. And so I ate a lot of food that night.
I was about to say,
I kept eating after that.
Yeah.
And was able to survive and move on. But that was an early entry into a very tough regime.
Could you pinpoint why that happened? Was it nutrition, or
exactly.
Just like
I'd never done that many kilometers before. I was at high altitude. I didn't know how to eat. I knew nothing at 17. Yeah. And I think that was part of the process. It was single swim. So that was probably my toughest day.
Yeah, right.
Even but I ended up doing 5 tours, a few Giros, a couple of Voltas.
And you'd still say that was your
absolutely.
toughest. Really? Yeah, it's stuck in your memory, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe that was the time too when you went, do I really want this? Yeah, is this where I'm headed? Well,
I think we also share that determination, and I see in you today how you work with your athletes. That determination, I think, you do need to realise it in yourself. It needs to be, oh wow, I've got it. That grit.
Yeah. I think as a coach, like obviously we've competed, but also still as a coach, we still want to achieve, but it's different because we care and we want the best for our athletes. But at the same time, we still have that determination and the will to help them to get there. So you don't lose it. It's just expanded in different ways.
I heard it put really well just recently. A colleague of mine at the Institute of Sport here in New South Wales, who's been an athlete, Olympic athlete, transitioned into coach, now coach developer, similar to my role. And he put it well, like that the transition is going from one of selfishness as an athlete, and I mean that in a positive way. An athlete, high-performing athlete, needs to be in a way selfish and take care of things. Yeah. And then becoming a coach, you transition into be selfless, and it's all about others. And that is a transition.
It is.
And it's funny, it seems so simple, and but it was so elegantly put that it's really stamped home for me. So that's where we meet again today. We are colleagues at the New South Wales Institute of Sport, different roles.
Yes.
But here it's all about the McGee Athlete Pathway and our partnerships with FULGAZ and All Group. So let's dig a little bit into that. What is the map? What it can be, we'll talk about our performance team. For me, the MAP is it's a holistic way of training, and I don't use that word lightly. It gets thrown around a lot, but our philosophy is equal measure of on-bike and off-bike activities. So we need to build the engines, we need to do the training. Those things will never go away, but the off-bike stuff, the learning requirement is equally important. And that's what I've been really excited about. It's challenging me, and it will challenge us all, because what do we really know? How can you educate, inform, and empower others until you really know it yourself, believe in that? So that's been the journey so far, putting that together. So what the McGee Athlete Pathway, the MAP, will be that. It will be equal parts on-bike activities and the off-bike learning. And that's going to be really cool to put together. Oh,
definitely. And I think you've hit the nail on the head, the holistic side of things and the mental side as well. It's just so important, so important. We can do all the physical training and all of that type of stuff, but how do you actually, when you were talking about your hard day, so then if we give the others a harder day or some hard efforts, how are they actually going to process it and how they're going to get through it, so they're not into don't go and do that, so there's it's great to be able to tap into all of those areas and see how it can actually really assist you on the bike.
And so those areas, we've split it up into classic sort of contemporary terminology. It's used, we use it in the Institute, national systems are using it, focusing on the physical requirements, the engine building, the tactical requirements, how to use strategies in events and races, technical requirements like aero position and equipment choice, mental area, and that's basically just getting your shit together, being logistically prepared, planning, debriefing, reviewing, all those softer skills. And then what I really like putting together is what I call the fundamentals, and they are the big rocks. Get them right first. Your daily protocols, your belief systems, your sleep, your nutrition basics. So they're really broken down, and we call them our tours. And then we've got segments inside those tours and sectors inside those segments. Thinking about a Paris-Roubaix, episode.
Yes.
So that's been really cool to put together. And what's even cooler than that is putting together our wonderful performance team, of which you've taken up the lead role for our endurance coaching. So we look forward to tapping into your skill set, your knowledge, your experience, what you're learning right now, to update this as we keep evolving.
Yeah, definitely.
And of course, we've got our good friend Dr. David Spindler, who will be, we don't have to use that term.
No,
it's
but it
Dave.
Sounds pretty cool, doesn't it?
And Dave's just got an abundance of experience in the high performance arena.
He has,
It's just amazing, his journey. So he'll take care of all things psychology,
yes,
and how it translates into performance, high performance. We've got Michelle Ferris, good friend of ours, former teammate at a couple of Olympic Games for myself. Michelle, having won a bag full of Olympic medals in sprint cycling on the velodrome. So she's going to bring in a wonderful amount of experience and knowledge in all things sprint, power, strength, and just all-round coolness too.
But coolness, definitely. But also, a lot of the attributes that she brings from a sprint perspective can also assist the endurance as well. So it's a really big collaboration.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, look forward to that. So we're going to dig into other things, but right now it's time for a little break, and we can have a little sip on our black currant juice here.
From one of the last frontiers there. She's travelled a long way to get here, but she never stays long. Only a fortunate few get to greet her each year. The ones who do say she has many wondrous sides. Some soft, smooth, sweet, yet subtle. But if you close your eyes, you can sense her darker side. One where the wind bites and mornings are obscure. When she arrives, she brings with her a mystical silence. She caresses mountains and gently whispers to the forest. She's a winter enchantress, some say. She'll cause you to lose your way but end up in a beautiful place.
Welcome back here to the Tuesday special at the McGee Athlete Pathway. We're FULGAZ on the map, our very first podcast. And of course, sitting here with Rebecca Dicello, our head endurance coach. I'm Brad McGee, the team principal here at the map. And we've had a lovely discussion so far, Beck, about your journey, some tough days, good days on the bike. Now, let's dig a little bit deeper into some of the partnerships we've got here at the map and also your role in that endurance coaching space. So let's kick off with FULGAZ, wonderful partner here. My personal interaction with FULGAZ goes back many years, and I know you've also had some interaction with FULGAZ over a number of years as well. So it's been really cool to see it evolve as a product, as an instrument. I know there's many users out there today benefiting from what has been a massive evolution in the online virtual riding space.
Definitely.
I love it because it's that beautiful 4K video image. I can get on like a tourist. I just go through all the, it takes me 10 minutes to work out which ride I'm going to jump on.
I know, there's so many to choose from, isn't there?
And then I normally like a 40-minute loop with a couple of climbs. That's sort of my go-to at the moment.
Yeah,
and
it's
I can
good
go
because
and look at a gym or something.
Exactly. 40 minutes is good. You can get stuck
midweek,
into it, have a bit of an effort. Yeah, midweek, of course. Yeah, when you're trying to fit it in with your day.
That's it. But professionally, I really got to know the product and built a few instruments with Mike FULGAZ, the founder of FULGAZ. I remember engaging with Mike pre-Rio when this new thing was introduced. We had a bit of a look at it, and that evolved through past Rio into several world championships that we delivered in my role as the head coach there for the Australian team. And we're using it for all sorts of things like recon, time trial course, get to know the road courses, introduce it and do some team building and team strategy building. And this was with athletes spread out all around the world.
How cool is that?
It's so cool. In fact, for Tokyo, working with Rowan Dennis for the TT, we had his principal coach, Neil Henderson, in Colorado. Rowan's in Girona in his basement, and I'm in Fitzroy Falls. And we're all connected, all got Rowan's point of view. And we did 4 or 5 trials on the course. No one else had the video.
No.
It was a special link that we put together. You can do that. And I believe no one prepared for that time trial like we did.
No.
They could not have. And in fact, it was better than if we'd all been on site in Japan, trying to do it over a day or two.
Well, it's so efficient as well. So efficient. And you can be, all of you can be connected.
That's it.
And I think, and you've also able to do it on many occasions. I think, like you said, you planned, different trials.
There was a couple of late nights for me.
Well.
It was like straw who's getting up early or staying up late.
Yeah,
but it worked.
That's what you do, isn't it?
And I know you've used it extensively as well for different coaching practices. Maybe the journey you had with, was it Young Connor International a couple of years ago?
Yes, Connor Sands. Yes, it was a couple of years ago, and when Mike was working out of the garage.
That's right.
And
back in the early days.
Yes, in the early days, and we were trialing a few things, a few concepts, and what would work best. And it was in the lead up to the nationals at Buninyong on the time trial circuit. So and Connor was a young rider. Yes, so definitely. So we did a lot of. I was able to do break the time trial course up into segments, and then he was able to use the FULGAZ with it and really train on that specifically.
Yep.
And no doubt that really assisted him in getting the top 10 results and really improved.
That's right. Yeah, the improvement was
yes, it was.
And I don't think I've ever shared this, but what you did then really gave me the confidence to go and deliver that to Rowan and Neil and implement it. Like, this works.
Yeah. Oh, right. That's great. I didn't know that. That's
So that's a little touch on a bronze Olympic medal there.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
So FULGAZ, fantastic. It's constantly evolving too, which is a really cool thing. And other instruments that we're using in our MAP coaching practices. I want to talk a bit about the endurance coaching side of things for you, and then maybe we can just touch on RPE, rate of perceived exertion. I'm going to hit you straight up here, Beck. What is coaching for you? Endurance coaching. What are what's the aspiration for you? What sort of coach do you intend to be each day that you take on your coaching duties?
I think me as a coach, it's athlete led, and I like to each day aspire or inspire the athletes. And I think for me, it's about getting the best out of the athletes, not just on the bike, but across the board. Yeah. So developing the athletes to be well-rounded people and to be able to gain a lot of strategies and tools for them to be able to use throughout their life and to be able to be either better people, not that they're not good people, but just, like to be better people and to be able to help them to make decisions easier decisions, whether it's on or off the bike. And obviously want them to achieve their goals as well.
That's what we see, Beck. Look, Beck, anyone that knows Beck, Coach Beck, you've got a high level of care for your athletes. You're driven, passionate for success, and it's really like inspiring. Not just the athletes involved, but anyone in that circle. So that's what we really look forward to, and it fits with our MAP philosophy 100%. Ultimately, athletes are making their own decisions, and we're empowering them to make the best decisions as they go. Yeah,
definitely to guide them and help them to take ownership as well. Like instead of us actually doing it, we give them the tools to be able to go off and do whatever they need to do, but they know that we believe in them and we've got their back as well. So, and like for me, I just to be able to make an impact on someone's life and to really help them get through, especially when you're working with younger, not necessarily kids, but 15 years old and up, like it's still really tough time for them at trying to manage school and a lot of other pressures and all of that type of stuff. So it's really just trying to help them to get through life a lot easier, and along the way hopefully they can gain some success. And if that doesn't necessarily mean winning, it's more about achieving what goals that they've put in.
There you go. Brilliant. Let's talk about tools we use. Mentioned RPE, rate of perceived exertion. Yes. Tell me about that. What's your experience with that? Do you still use it? Have you used it in the past? We've come up with our take on RPE because there's a lot out there, and we reference it as much as we can. I'll hit up straight away. We talk about RPE 1 to 10, 10 being maximal all-out effort. What's your reference? What's 10 for you?
Maximal all-out effort. 10 is just basically you really you couldn't get off the bike. You'd be struggling to breathe. You can't talk. Like you've basically emptied the tank. That's yes. Yes.
Not on the coffee shop rides today, though.
No, definitely not. Not lately. That was a long time ago. What about you?
It comes around a lot easier today than
that's true. That's true.
I was a bit of a lose my lunch type of rider at anything threshold. So I think I've been there. What's one for you?
One for me is just like you can easily chat. You're laughing. You can just feel the wind. It's just nice and just feel like you not much exertion, not really putting any power through the pedals. Just
I kind of think it's more like, for me, it's like laying on the couch eating a packet of chips.
Oh,
drinking
there
a
you
beer,
go.
Watching Roubaix, I don't know. Although
That's-
Roubaix gets the heart rate up too. So,
That's why they're going to go with me, not you.
Yeah.
They're like, what? Chips?
So a couple of key points we've got on our RPE scale is on our FTP, so functional threshold power,
Yep.
at 100% of FTP, which we all know is like a reference point for many things in cycling. It's
Yes.
such a useful figure.
Yep.
We can set all our training levels around that. So that's threshold, and that's level 7 on RPE. And if you talk about what does that feel like, well, it's difficult. And I think some of the language, even when I was with Team Saxo Bank as a rider, and then I spent 4 years as sports director, we would simplify things. You know, we're a team of 30 riders and 35 staff of all different nationalities. 16 different
That's
nationalities
huge.
just in the athlete base. So English was the language, but it was a simplified
Yes.
English. So
Yeah,
we
definitely.
really broke things down. That's why the feel like chart here, just talking easy, moderate, hard, difficult, maximum. That just makes it very clear and precise. So we're out doing group training rides, in our pre-season. I can remember we spent 2 weeks in California, and we go out and do a whole series of moderate efforts, 10, 20-minute efforts at moderate pace. And sometimes the call would come through the earpiece, right, go from moderate to hard for 5 minutes.
Yeah, so everybody
No
knew.
ambiguity, everyone knew, and it was delivered. I do have a side story on that. Once we had a bit of a riders gathering during that camp that went a little bit late, and one of those moderate efforts was definitely hard and went beyond 20 minutes, I can tell you. The coaches got us back. That's a side story.
I think we need to catch up on that another time.
But that's where it's relative. So the actual intensity was in that aerobic building moderate space, but the RPE on the day was hard to difficult because we were hungover.
Exactly. Well, but doesn't that show that when you could have those days?
Yeah.
So even though you've got your prescribed training, you might have that day and you've got no idea why. But this is meant to be moderate, but this is actually really hard. So that's where this table comes into play really well, doesn't it?
That's
and
it.
You know the numbers and where it's at.
Yep. Perfect tool for us. So we've talked about the FULGAZ relationship, talked about your endurance coaching, RPE. Let's talk about climbing. And we've put together a few climbing programs. I know you've done a few climbing programs over the years for FULGAZ.
Yes.
So I've had some real fun putting this together. And I look forward to designing a lot more of these. And in particular, the element we've brought in now on the FULGAZ platform is where I actually either jump on and ride the actual effort. And this is where, don't hurt me now, when you're designing these future programs, just know that I will be writing these things.
Good.
And I've got to be able to talk back. So just stay with me. And that's been a really cool, it's like as if you imagine I'm like your training partner and we're riding side by side. Just as we know, all those years training, some of those lovely conversations you have and you're helping each other out. Bobby Julich was the key for me when I was living in Nice. He was a seasoned pro at that stage.
You might need to just reiterate who Bobby Julich is.
So Bobby Julich was third in the Tour de France a number of years ago. Great American pro for many years. We teamed up in Saxo Bank. He went on to become a sports director there as well. Fantastic rider. And could he talk? Oh, my goodness. You'd meet him on the corner. Hi, Bobby. And then 5 hours later, my second word would be bye, Bobby. And the whole time through, he was having a good old chat. So that it was really inspiring. Like what he talked about was amazing.
What would he talk about for 5 hours?
Everything. You'd be giving me tips on my pedal style, talking about where we're going, like climbing, everything, all high performance related. So I learned a lot from Bobby Julich as in that regard. So I'm trying to bring that in on these FULGAZ sessions. And then the other element is for some of them I'm your sports director or your coach. So I'm like in the car behind your ear talking you through these efforts. So we look forward to expanding on those things. And we talk about breathing technique. We talk about pedal technique. And I know you've got some great stuff on pedal technique, lift your toes and things like that. So we'll really elaborate on that sort of stuff in the future. And it's just a really intimate way of coaching our participants through these sessions. And it's really enjoyable for my part too. So we've had some fun. There's going to be a lot more of that. Look forward to tapping into your expertise. But don't hurt me now. I am writing some of them back.
I cannot guarantee that, Brad. You'll get fitter, so I need to,
I'm just wondering.
gradually increase it.
I am. My weight can sometimes be an aspirational weight that I put in there.
Okay.
Helps out. But anyway, it's not there. Let's talk about our Hort Route partnership. Have you climbed? You've done the Giro, so you've probably done some of the Dolomites climbs, I'm imagining.
Some of the Dolomites, yes.
What about the Alps? You remember us climbing through the Alps?
I've done the Pyrenees. I've done the Pyrenees. Yes.
So like Tourmalet and what else we got down there?
Perisord.
Oh yeah.
And what else? Aspen, called Aspen.
Luzardiden.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
So this is the great thing about Hort Route. They just take on the best, the biggest, and they're back to back.
Yeah.
So our responsibility here in this partnership, getting, participants ready for those Hort Route. It's not just getting up one climb; it's getting up multiple climbs. And some of these things go for a week or more. It's insane.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Even in the Tour de France, we do like 3 or 4 days in the Alps, and then you'd have a few flatter days.
Yeah.
And
then you get a rest day.
Here at Hort Route, they just go bang, 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 like day in, day out. It's insane. Yeah. So that's not lost on us, getting these athletes ready for that. Understanding that not everyone's a pro, not everyone's got unlimited amounts of time. So key sessions, early in the week, some high power, threshold type work. Later in the week, more that tempo, sweet spot, build the length, the capacity. Ultimately, it's the engine, isn't it? And that's driven by this thing. So building those mental skills as well.
Definitely. That'll be, and by the time you get to the back end of the week, those mental skills will be very important.
Yep. So these are things we'll introduce there. So it's a really cool partnership. We'll all learn here. I'd love to get over there one day. And, I'd like to think we've still got it, Beck, that we can get over there and climb a few hills.
I would like to think that as well, and that's
Bornie's
an aspiration
Bornie's up for it.
me. Yes, I would love to get back there and do that for sure.
Yeah. So happy to move on. I could talk about climbing hills all day.
We could, same.
But something, if we segue.
Oh, sorry, I'll go back to climbing hills. If you want to talk about that all day long, what's your favourite? Or in a race, what was your favourite maybe?
I'm actually going to line up with you here is the Giro. The one outing I had where I finished, a reasonable placing overall was in the Giro of 2004.
Okay.
So all my other Grand Tours, I get in, go for the prologue, go for Jersey, and then hang on.
Yeah.
Group head over.
Try to finish.
For the after party, 3 weeks later. Rubbish.
Try to get to Paris.
But in 2004, short story is I went in to get the Jersey early, maybe a stage, and I actually had tickets booked for the Monaco Grand Prix at about half race distance. I wasn't supposed to finish. I was getting ready for the tour.
That's the best.
And lo and behold, halfway race distance, I'm still sitting third overall.
What did you do with the tickets?
Well, the DS is like, you can't go home now. I'm like, So I stuck it out and ended up finishing top 10, which meant I had to get over the Gavia.
Yeah.
Now, my first edition of the Giro, I went over the Gavia and the Gruppetto so far behind that leaders went over in blue skies and sunshine. Gruppetto came over in a snowstorm. And we had to go down the Gavia after climbing it for an hour and a half, completely in a snowstorm. It was insane. So anyway, fast forward back to 2004, I got through the Gavia with the front group.
Wow.
You know what it means to be front group.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Oh, for me, that
You're
was...
what?
It was like I won the
people
Giro.
Around me? What's going on? What do I do? Oh, my gosh.
So that, for me, is the Gavia.
Yeah.
It's a monster.
Yeah. Okay, put that on the list. Got to do that.
Yeah, got to get back there.
Yeah.
Be a bit more than an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And for you, favourite climb?
Oh, my favourite climb. I liked the Perisord. I liked that one.
Tell me about the Perisord.
Just the
Was
switchbacks.
it a good day?
I think it was a good day. Yeah. I think it was sunny and nice and just, just enjoyed that one.
Oh, we have to put that one on the list too. Yeah. Let's talk about World Championships.
World Champs.
What do we know about the World Championships? They're upcoming. They're in our backyard.
They are.
Yeah. Have you been to a World Championship before? Either as a spectator, as a rider, as a coach? You've just been to
I've been to Paris.
Para-Worlds?
Para-Worlds. A couple of Para-Worlds. And but I actually don't think I've done Road Worlds.
Look out for it. I've had the fortune to ride in World Championships. Not always a good outcome personally, but as a team we got some results. I've directed a few, actually quite a few, but I've also been a spectator. at World Championships?
Oh, I've been a spectator.
Where was that?
Yeah, Melbourne.
Okay, of
Geelong.
course. Yeah. Back in your old stomping ground.
Long time ago.
So how did you take on the spectator role? Because I see it as you got to have a tactic here.
What is the tactic?
Well, you got to find somewhere where, for me, there's beer,
yes,
a TV
correct.
screen,
yes.
and you can also still see the race come back. As many so
that's
you have a strategy.
Yeah, that was probably my strategy. Yes,
okay.
You need to see the finish, the big screen, any little entertainment if you've got kids, and then a cafe on the corner.
See, strategy.
Yeah, got it sorted.
All right, top tip for the men's.
Michael Matthews.
Oh yes, like that. I'm a big Ben Hart fan, but I'm always Aussie.
Yeah.
But if it's not an Aussie, then top tip for the women's.
Ben Hart, I mean, he's amazing, isn't he?
Who's on the podium in the women's? If you don't want to go single out anyone.
Gosh, thinking with that one, I do think that I think Spratty's going to be up there. Yeah, and maybe Annemiek van Vleuten.
Always.
I mean, think you can't rule her out, isn't she?
Even if she's not on form, she'll find it. Yeah, she'll have a major impact. Just curious if she'll launch on Giro with 140k to go.
Yeah,
we see her go. What was it, in Yorkshire, 100k or something?
Yeah, I know.
And made it stick.
I don't know that that's going to happen again though. I reckon the peloton are a bit smarter than that. Now and well, not that they're not smarter. There's way they know that they let her go and they couldn't have. Yeah, definitely. So I still it is Kira is a long way out from the finish, but I wouldn't. I would still expect her to have a dig, I reckon. Yeah, I think so. Just with
so you think we need to get on Kira and then back to the beer tents at the finish? Is that what you're saying for the spectating strategy?
yes, definitely. Yeah, because Kira's early, so it's okay.
So we can get there.
Exactly.
We can ride down.
Yes. Yeah. True.
Dump the bikes.
Exactly.
Chain them up to a tree.
Yeah.
And then enjoy the festivities.
Yes, that's a good strategy, I think.
Talking about festivities, maybe you need to put a little
gin.
Yeah, a little bit in our ravitaillement and our musette.
That's a good idea, actually. I think that's put it in a drink bottle, maybe.
Yeah. Beck, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yes. This is our first Tuesday special, FULGAZ on the Map, our regular podcast. Look out for more. We've got great guests coming up, including our other performance team members. It won't always be me hosting, so you can get over that. Maybe Beck's in the chair introducing new members. We look forward to your comments, and we look forward to having you next week on the FULGAZ on the Map podcast. Thanks again, Beck.
Pleasure. Thanks, Brad.
Cheerio.